Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Mile High Biker. It's Mile High Monday. Let's get into today's video. All right, so thanks again for joining me today, and we are talking about the electric trike that we have here. This is the Eskute Electric Tricycle. It is a folding tricycle, although I don't know how much I'll be using that part of it, but yeah, so 3 wheels. Why did I go 3 wheels? Well, 3 reasons. Number one, it's just fun. It's different. It's fun to ride around on, tool around on, have a good time. The main reason, okay, actually this maybe should be number one. The main reason was to be my winter warrior, okay? I ride my regular bikes as much as I can in the snow and stuff like that. It's super fun, but when you're commuting and you're in the city and you're riding on the streets, you guys know if you've done it, packed down snow and ice, that stuff we like to call snert. It's that mixture of dirt and snow and the salt they put down, and it's very unpredictable, it's very slippery. And I'm not the biggest shredder on 2 wheels, okay? Like, I do what I can. My bike handling skills are okay, but I slip and I fall. Last year I slipped and fell pretty good, and I don't want to have to deal with that when I'm going to work, right? I just want to get to work. I still don't want to drive a car. I don't mind being out in miserable weather. I got the clothes and everything and the grit to get through that, but I needed something that would, I could just plow through any kind of ice and snow situation and I can still make it. And that's what this thing does, okay? I have had one opportunity to test it out. We had one snowy storm, early January, I want to say. And this thing, and yeah, the roads were pretty terrible because here in Denver, they don't really plow, especially surface streets in the city. They don't really do anything. And so cars just pack it down and it's really hard to navigate on 2 wheels. This thing, no problem. It did exactly what I wanted it to do, and it got me to work in about the same amount of time it takes me on a regular bike. It was fun. It wasn't as nerve-wracking. I wasn't white-knuckling the whole time because I'm like trying to make sure that I don't slip. And I can go much faster on this thing on snow and ice than I can on a bicycle. So yeah, that's the main reason, really, was for that. But also, I mean, this thing, as you can see, we got a rear basket, we got a front basket. We're going to go over all the stuff on here. But grocery getter, it could be great for that too. And I'm actually excited for some summertime use for this, taking it out to some of our awesome cruise nights that we have here in Denver, also in Boulder. Plenty of room to fit a decent sized speaker or something in the back of here and toss some jams on, and you know, I can easily put a 6-pack up here. I mean, for just cruising around and not worrying about like some of the things we worry about on 2 wheels, which I'm pretty used to. There's a whole other slew of things to worry about when you're riding a tricycle. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit. This is actually not my first tricycle. I do have another one, which I'll show you some pictures and slight video of here. I bought a couple years ago a drift trike. I think it's a Razor. I just bought it on a whim. Just was like, I want an adult-sized big wheel, and I wonder if that exists. And then I looked it up, and hell yeah, it does. So they actually make an electric version of that, but this is my electric trike, and yeah. So let's talk about what's involved here. What are some of the specs? What do you get? This is the Eskute T300 folding electric tricycle. currently about $700. I bought this off of Amazon, but you can also get it from the Eskute website. They have a bunch of other e-bikes. They got e-dirt bikes. They got a bunch of stuff on there, all cheap. So you know it's right for this channel. This bike comes in a bunch of different colors. I got the black. There's blue and orange and gray and yellow, I think, and red, and, you know, all your basic colors. It's got a 500 watt motor with a 1200 watt peak. Yeah, I definitely believe that. It's about the same size as the one that's on my Rad power bikes. Has about the same power. This does have a little bit more torque. I can definitely feel trying to, get up hills and things like that. Throttle only, which is pretty much mostly how I ride this thing, is throttle only. But I don't know exactly how much torque. It didn't say on the website. Maybe it did and I missed it. I'll have to go back and check. With that 500 watt motor, your top speed, they say, is 18 plus miles an hour. I don't believe that, because I don't know if I've ever seen 18 on the speedometer here on the bike. Maybe sometime I'll get my phone hooked up on here and do a little bit of a test, see how accurate that speedometer is anyways. But I'm thinking, 17.7 is about the fastest that I've had this. If you're going downhill, sure, you can probably get up to 18. This thing says that it has a 65 mile range. Maybe if you're 12 years old and you weigh like, 40 pounds or so, like, maybe. For me, for my 220 pounds, this battery was almost completely dead after a 9-mile ride to work. Now that was through that day through snow and stuff like that, but I definitely had to charge the battery at work in order to make the ride home, and it made the ride home. But I would say 10 miles really. And I'm in level 2 and level 3. There's 3 levels of assist. I'm in the top 2 levels the most time. So your range is going to depend on how you're riding. I'm also riding this thing pretty much throttle only all the time, but 65 miles, yeah, if you're pedaling, you're in level 1, and you're a small, light person and you have no other weight on this thing and there's no hills where you're going, like, maybe you can get 65 miles out of it. The wheels on this tricycle, that's right, 3 of them, oh yeah, and they are some pretty decent sized fatties, 18-inch by 3-inch tires on this thing. These small wheels, and they're really strong. These wide tires are great. Like I said, it did awesome in the snow. I've taken it on some dirt and gravel trails and paths and things. It does fine off-road as well. The tread and everything on these tires is certainly pretty street oriented. There's a little bit of tread. I was a little worried about that, and I already have, like, in my Amazon list, some other tires in the future maybe for this thing. They're a little bit more knobby. I don't think I can go too much bigger if I want to keep the fenders. So I'm going to try and keep it at the 18 by 3-inch tires. Definitely a little bit harder to find. Not as many options with this wheel size, tire size. But hey, the ones that are on it honestly are sufficient enough. They do have another model trike that's like a little bit bigger and beefier, and it has even bigger, wider tires on it. So if you're interested, again, check out their website. No kickback to me. I bought this with my own money, just so you know. The battery is a 48 volt, 13 amp hour battery. I feel like that's pretty standard. It's basically the same battery that I have on the Rad power bike. So yeah, it works fine. Again, it gets me about 10 miles and then I pretty much have to charge it. So not a super long hauler type thing. I imagine, if I'm on a cruise ride and I'm keeping this thing in level 1 or something and just chilling, it's gonna last a lot longer, right? Now your weight capacity on this thing, because you got so much space here and in the front, plus the rider, 400 pounds, 400-pound capacity. That's pretty awesome, and you can really load this thing up. Again, myself, I am 220 pounds. I'm almost 6 feet tall. If you were any bigger than me, I probably wouldn't get this model, the T300. I would get one of their bigger ones for sure. And if you're smaller than me, okay, this is your bike right here. You have a lot of adjustment in the seat and everything. We'll talk about that too. It's a nice seat. Why don't we do that? Let's jump into the seat. So big, wide seat. It does flip up so that you can get to the battery underneath. The tricycle is a difference from bicycles, right? This has got a backrest, which is adjustable if you want to move it up and down. Yeah, it's comfortable. I'm just sitting and throttling. I'm not really pedaling on this thing, so this saddle and seat works just fine. Again, this thing has a twist throttle and 3 levels of assist. Again, I ride this thing pretty much throttle only, which is another reason why it uses so much power when I'm riding. Pedal, I don't know, maybe for me, pedaling and riding this thing just feels kind of weird. It's easier kind of to keep my balance and judge what's going on if my body is still and I'm just kind of throttling. Yeah, if you want to pedal it, cool. I've done it a few times. It does not have a torque sensor or anything like that. It is a cadence sensor only. Kicks in a little rough sometimes. I kind of think the throttle is a little smoother and more predictable. So yeah, on this bike, it's not here for me to pedal and get a workout. It's just to get me somewhere in really crappy weather, or to cruise around and jam some tunes on a big speaker or something. I'm not going to be pedaling this thing, so I don't really worry about that. Like I said before, this thing has a front and rear basket. You do have a headlight in the front here and a tail light in the back. The tail light's really low to the ground, so it'd probably be cool to have a light maybe on the back of the seat here. And then, maybe something else. Of course, it came with reflectors, but I'm not that much of a dork. I know my dork level has gone up buying a trike maybe, but you could put other lights on the front wherever, I might even get some cool LED lights to put on this thing, especially for cruise rides, and get this thing lit up like a Christmas tree. This trike does have disc brakes on it. They are mechanical disc brakes, front and rear, and they're fine. And honestly, when I assembled it, the rear brake, I didn't have to do anything. It was just already assembled and it wasn't rubbing. They've got it set pretty good. It feels good, plenty of power, braking power on this thing. The front brake, all I had to do was loosen the bolts on the caliper, squeeze the brake and make sure that it was centered, and then tighten those bolts, and it was fine. So the setup on the brakes is pretty easy. And then also this, since you can it just sits. You don't need a kickstand. You don't have to lean it on something. This is great, right? But because of that, it can roll away on you. So both of these brakes do also have a brake, a parking brake, basically. This thing has parking brakes, so it won't roll away on you. It's got a really basic LCD screen. It tells you your levels of assist. It tells you how fast you're going. There is an odometer, but here's one weird thing about that. It only tells you how fast you're going, and it only tracks mileage when the motor is running. So if you're just coasting, your speed goes down to 0, and then it's not tracking. So just to track mileage and other stuff. I'm using Strava to try and do that because this is just kind of weird the way they got it set up. Again, it is cheap, so that's probably why. The weight of the trike itself is 98 pounds, almost 100 pounds. It's not something you're going to be lifting up and down all the time. If you're going to be traveling with it, you know, you can fold it and put it in the back of a van or something, but it's heavy to get up there. I have seen on Instagram some like cargo racks that go on a hitch on the back of your truck or car, whatever, with a ramp to just kind of roll this thing up and have it secured that way, kind of like a bike rack. That would be pretty cool. I don't know that I'm going to be taking this thing and traveling with it a whole lot, you know. I'm not really worried about that. It has a waterproof rating, IP54 water resistant rating or whatever, you know, which when I looked it up, basically you can ride in the rain, you can ride in the snow. This thing was pretty covered with snow the last time I rode, and that kind of stuff is not going to hurt it. Obviously you can spray it down and wash it and stuff like that, but you don't want to submerge it, which, duh, why would you submerge it? You know, don't ride into the lake, okay? But yeah, rain, snow, washing it, you're good to go. And it's probably, as I've learned with e-bikes and things, it's better to have, you know, have the battery on there when you're washing it to make sure you don't get any water in the terminals and stuff. So no problem there. It does have in the front a suspension fork, not much travel. And I do think I'm bottoming it out quite a bit. There's no adjustments that I have seen on it. So it's not a particularly nice fork, but it does give you a little bit of softening in the front with some bumps and things. Now, of course, there is no suspension in the rear. So it's like you hit it pretty soft in the front and then boom, you hit it pretty hard in the back. So if it's a big bump, you might want to watch out for that. And let's talk about gears and things. There are none. This is a single speed tricycle. You got the one gear. Another reason why it's just not very comfortable for me to pedal, because at speed, you're just spinning and ghost pedaling anyways. All right, let's take this thing for a ride now and talk about how it rides. So, the first thing that you're going to notice, what am I in, level 2? Yeah, let's go up to level 3. All right, I'm going to turn. First thing, these things do not turn like a bike. You don't lean, right? Well, there is some leaning, but the leaning is like, the leaning is to help you not tip over. So that's the biggest thing with a tricycle is you don't want to tip over. And so basically you got to go slow. You got to slow down. You can't take, you know, you can't bank things. You're not hitting berms on this. You got to slow down when you turn. Otherwise, it's not going to work. All right, little speed test here. We're on decently flat. We're going to be heading down just a little bit. And I'm at 16.7. I don't know if you can see the speedometer over here. Holding 16.7, 16.8, 16.9, 17. And again, around 17. Now I'm going to start going slightly downhill. So here we go. We even have help from the hill. I'm still at 17. Yeah, getting this thing up to 18 or plus. Now again, I'm throttle only, but even pedaling, like I would be ghost pedaling, you know. You can pedal and ghost pedal and actually going slower though. So yeah, the whole 18 miles an hour, that's not really happening. A little bit of a delay when I turn the throttle, but it's not too bad. Yeah, let's do some dirt. So yeah, when you turn, you kind of got to lean in the direction you're turning a little bit, just to help. And what I've done the first time I rode this, and I'm riding along and I'm getting to a spot where I got to turn, and I was just going too fast, and like your bicycle brain just kind of freaks out and you start like just going straight and hitting the brakes, and you know, I took this thing straight into a tree the first time. My buddy Ian, man, I wish I would have got that on video. My buddy Ian checked this thing out, and he also immediately into a bush, because it's just, as a cyclist, as a bicyclist, it's really not intuitive when you're trying to turn initially. You do get used to it, and so now, like, I know that I have to steer. I have to like push on the handlebars here and actually steer it one way or the other to get it to turn. And if I'm going too fast, that's just not going to work. Now this bike does have a rear differential. I'll be honest, I know that that's supposed to help with your stability while turning and stuff like that. I don't know 100% what it does. I've seen some videos and diagrams and things. So right here, right, I gotta slow down. I'm leaning to the right as I turn right, and I gotta push on the left of the handlebars to turn the wheel. It's just weird. Bumps. The brakes on this thing, like, oh yeah, you can skid it up if you want. Now one thing, and maybe this has to do with the differential in the back, but one thing is, you know, if you're leaning the bike to turn, and of course if I'm turning right, I have to lean to the right, because that tire in the rear, that wheel wants to come up off the ground as my weight is being tossed to the left, right? Vice versa, if I'm turning to the left, okay, I have to toss my weight to the left, because that tire is going to want to come off the ground. And what happens there, because the motor is just giving you power to the rear, what happens there is that tire just starts spinning. Whatever tire is off the ground, the motor gives that tire power, and the wheel that's not on the ground, or the wheel that is still on the ground, sorry, doesn't get any power, so you just kind of don't go anywhere. By the way, this thing does have a really loud horn. I don't even know, like, I don't know if it's in the light or where that speaker actually is. Out in traffic and stuff on roads, I might use that. I don't really use that horn a whole lot on the path here, because it's just gonna, I'm gonna scare some old person and give them a heart attack. I don't want to do that. But yeah, just throttle only. You know, it's slightly cramped, slightly, for a person my size. If you're a taller person, bigger, if you're bigger than me, again, you probably want to look at a bigger model than this one. But I've gotten used to it. It's not a deal breaker. It's not like uncomfortable or anything like that. Yeah, so here I gotta lean to the left. And the leaning, you know, it's like I'm leaning on the saddle, on the seat here. It's not like on a bike where you kind of put the bike into the lean with your arm, like your hands on the handlebars, and you can't do that on the trike. It feels weird at first, but it's definitely something that you get used to pretty quick. On your left. if you have experience on a tricycle and a drift trike and stuff like that, you know, this should be no problem. The first thing you're going to notice is like you're up higher, right? So I definitely I feel a little top heavy, which is why if you have a bigger model, it's a little more, it's a longer, maybe even a little wider in the rear, it's going to be more stable, especially for bigger riders. There we go, sharp turn. So I really do have to slow down. It's a little weird because on a bike, I'm like, cornering and turning is so much fun on a bike because you can do it at speed and you can lean, and you know, on this thing you just can't. Now with the two wheels and two contact points on the back of this, one thing I noticed is that the slope or pitch or whatever of whatever surface that I'm riding on, and you don't notice it so much on a bicycle, but with this thing you can really notice when the trail is kind of leaning one way or the other. Oh, my tire came up a little bit there. It's a little unnerving, you get used to it, but there's definitely a bit of a learning curve. I will say, this thing turns on a dime though, like when you're going slow. And if you're like, oh shoot, I gotta turn around. Oh, really? You can do it slow. But yeah, I can't make a turn that tight on a bicycle. Eek.
Come on.
Well, so thank you for joining me in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Eskute electric tricycle. Man, this garage is filling up, right? I need more room. Maybe that'll happen someday. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And next time, guys, we're going to talk about this bike, the Gravity Deadeye. It's got a couple of new bits and bobs on it, and also it has a problem. See you next time.